My name is Sam Vaknin, and I'm the author of Malignant Self-Love, Narcissism Revisited. What happens when the narcissist falls victim to chronic or acute illness, to a disease? What happens when the narcissist survives a traffic accident, a mishap, a disaster? Well, narcissists react in either of four typical ways, depending on the type of narcissist. The first one is the schizotypal reaction. That is the belief that the narcissist predicament is a part of a larger cosmic plan, a figment of a blueprint that governs the narcissist's life and inexorably leads the narcissist to greatness and to the fulfillment of his mission on earth. This way, the narcissist explains away the disaster, catastrophe, or the illness as something destined, as fate, as a push towards the fulfillment of his role. Other narcissists rage, and the rage is intended to allay feelings of helplessness, loss of control, and impotence. The rage reestablishes the narcissist's omnipotent, grandiose self. Such rage is frequently followed by a schizoid phase, withdrawal, isolation, reclusiveness, and then by a manic spurt of activity. The narcissist seeks narcissistic supply compulsively, energetically, maniacally. The third type of reaction is the paranoid reaction. The narcissist deludes himself that the accident or the illness was no accident. Someone is out to get him. Someone had poisoned him. Someone is conspiring to do away with him. The narcissist casts himself in the role of a victim, usually in the framework of some grand design or conspiracy, or as the outcome of fate, again, schizotypal element. And then there is a masochistic reaction. In the wake of the illness or the accident, the narcissist's constant anxiety is alleviated, and he is relieved, having been punished properly for his inherent malice, evilness, and decadence. Religious narcissists often react this way. Narcissists hate weak and sick people. They hate it even more when their source of narcissistic supply ceases to function properly. Most of them just move on. They abandon the sick spouse. They find another, healthier one. Some of them play the role of martyrs, victims, selfless saints, and thus garner narcissistic supply as they treat or give care to their bedridden spouse. The permanently disabled narcissist, the invalid, the crippled narcissist, adopts one or more of three strategies. First one is exaggerated helplessness, which justifies emotional blackmail and extortion, a kind of insidious dependence that cripples his caregivers, his family. Control freakery is another option. It's a frenzied attempt to reassert the narcissist's grandiose sense of omnipotence, now gravely challenged by his invalidity. And then there is sadism. Sadism, inflicting pain on others and deriving pleasure from it. Sadism renders the narcissist's victims as helpless as he is, and as frustrated as he feels. Thus, sadism levels the playing field, normalizes the narcissist's disability. The narcissist says, everyone is helpless and frustrated, so there's nothing really wrong with me. I am, after all, still perfection embodied and reified. Possessing a distorted physical self-image is called a body dysmorphic disorder. All narcissists have it, to some degree. Somatic narcissists are especially prone to misjudge their bodies, either positively or negatively. They believe themselves to be physically irresistible, exuding sex and energy, statuesquely shaped, and in general stunning muscular hunks. His grandiose self-image rarely corresponds with reality, though. Aware of this discrepancy, the somatic narcissist dedicates inordinate amounts of time and effort to bodybuilding, exercising, mastering sexual advances and foreplay, and the intricacies of the coital act itself. To enhance his belief system, the somatic narcissist co-opts other people by forcing them to complement his build, his shape, his constitution, health, sexual prowess, physical regime, and attractiveness. The somatic narcissist is a compulsive consumer of body complements or extensions, objects that he thinks increase his attraction, irresistibility, appeal, and the value of his propositions. Fancy cars, flashy clothing, sumptuous residences, ostentatious first-class flights, luxury hotels, platinum credit cards, lavish parties, the latest smartphone, name-dropping, celebrity friends, high-tech gadgetry. All these serve to enhance the narcissist's self-image and to bolster his grandiose fantasies. Thus, this positive dysmorphic disorder serves to elicit narcissistic supply and buttress a distorted, unreal self-image. But body dysmorphic disorder, the misperception of one's body, is also a control mechanism. It allows the narcissist's false self to manipulate both the narcissist and his human environment. It is as though by morphing his body, by shape-shifting, the narcissist molds and designs his world, his nearest and dearest, his self in flux, his projected image, and the reactions to it. By lying about his body, his health, his sex appeal, his longevity, his possessions, his bodily extensions, his sexual prowess, his attractiveness, his irresistibility, his friends, lovers, adventures, affairs, you name it. By lying constantly about everything, the narcissist transforms the real world into a world of fantasy, which to him is real. To him, to the narcissist, the real world is how people perceive him to be. Perception is reality. By changing their perceptions, by indoctrinating and brainwashing people, the narcissist secures a pathological narcissistic space within which his false self can thrive, fully nourished and unchallenged. This phenomenon is not limited to the somatic narcissist, of course. The cerebral narcissist also deforms the true image of his body in his mind. He may exaggerate the dimensions of his head, the height of his forehead, or the length of his sensitive fingers. He may attribute to himself ailments and syndromes typical of high-powered intellectuals: consumption, tuberculosis, tendonitis, headaches, repetitive stress syndrome. The cerebral narcissist almost always lies about his IQ, his mental capacities, his skills. He tends to completely ignore and belittle the rest of his body, the parts of his body that are not linked intimately to his intellect. To him, the body is a burdensome and unnecessary appendage. He may complain of the need to maintain the flesh and of the derided or decried dependence of his magnificent brain on his abject and decaying body. I would have willingly placed my brain in a laboratory jar to be artificially nourished there. I would have gladly given up my body, such a narcissist may say. They rarely exercise. They regard with disdain the activities, proclivities, and predilections of the somatic narcissist. Physical pursuits, sex included, are perceived by cerebral narcissists to be bestial, demeaning, common, wasteful, and meaningless. This is also a result of body dysmorphic disorder. The cerebral narcissist underestimates the needs of his own body, misreads the body's signals, and ignores the body's processes. The body, to the cerebral narcissist, becomes an abstract, a background noise, a nuisance. Cerebral narcissists sometimes go through somatic phases. Somatic narcissists, if capable at all, adopt cerebral behavior patterns. Their attitudes then change accordingly. The temporarily somatic narcissist suddenly begins to exercise and groom himself, seduce. He has creative and imaginary sex, and so on. The somatic narcissist, made cerebral for a while, tries to read more, becomes contemplative and asocial, and consumes culture obsessively. But these are passing phases, and the narcissist always reverts to true, or should I say false, form.